The Morning Sports Desk, available on demand on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts, and WadenaRadio.com.
It is the Morning Sports Desk for a Thursday, the 25th of July. I'm CJ, there's Corey, and Corey, we got a decent amount of Twin stuff to break down here. First of all, to be the best, you got to beat the best. And everybody have been talking about the Twins really bad, deservedly so, really bad record against teams in that upper echelon of baseball. When you play the Yankees, when you play the Guardians, when you play the Dodgers, when they've played the Orioles, it's felt like when they played the Brewers over the weekend, it's felt like they just were not able to win those games. Well, team with the best record in baseball, the Philadelphia Phillies, come into town, and the Twins take 2 out of 3 and put themselves in a position to win all 3 of those ball games. So how are the vibes now, Corey?
Well, it feels especially good, right? Because they came out of the All-Star break a little sluggish, and we're not that far removed. But what's that?
Came into the All-Star break a little sluggish, too.
Went into the All-Star break, come out of the All-Star break a little sluggish. But then, yeah, this is what you hope is that at the end of the season, you can look back and be like, it was that series against Philadelphia that really kind of kicked off what we hope will be a nice run towards the end of the year, because they've got some work to do. They've got some ground to make up, and getting some wins against a Philadelphia team certainly feels good right now.
Yeah, exactly. And upon last check in the AL Central, the Twins are 5 games back at the Cleveland Guardians, 1 game above the Kansas City Royals for second place in the AL Central. And they're doing it right now without Carlos Correa, without Royce Lewis, they're doing it without Jose Miranda. You know, they're doing it without a few guys who, I mean, the reason that the Twins were where they were at and playing such good ball was because Correa was tearing the cover off the ball, and so was Miranda. Well, those guys have been on the injured list. It looks like Royce Lewis, Corey, is set to come back and meet the team in Detroit and basically be back by their game on Friday. So that's good news with Royce Lewis coming back. It'll help them, especially on that, infield depth. We talk about all the depth they had, but then Correa got hurt, Miranda got hurt, Lewis was already hurt, and all of a sudden Christian Vasquez was playing third base. So, it's weird how it goes away quickly, but it looks like they're starting to get some of that back. Carlos Correa, according to reports, is not going to travel with the team on their road trip, and that road trip is a 6-game one that includes stops in Detroit and in New York against the Mets. So
Sure.
Basically means the earliest timeline Carlos Correa could be back would be August 2nd.
I'm going to start with dollar denominations, and I'm going to ask you this question.
Okay.
And to see how low we can get. I'm going to start with $100 bill. If I were to tell you, or if I were to say, if Royce Lewis hits a home run in his first game back, you have to give me $100 bill. Would you feel comfortable with that?
No, absolutely not.
How about a 50?
Absolutely not.
20?
I'd feel better if it actually happened, but Royce Lewis is going yard. They're in Detroit. I mean, he's going to yank one down the left field line. He's going to hit one into the bullpen. It's going to happen.
Yeah, I know. I feel the exact same way. I was trying to figure out the best way to properly express that I think he's going to hit a home run, because that's just what he does when he returns every single time. And I would say maybe not in the first game, but in the first 6 at-bats of the series, he's going to hit a home run. It's going to be it's going to be so wild. And yeah, I would not feel comfortable. It's like, no, I'm not giving you $100 bill, because that's $100 I'm going to have to give you. I feel the same. Probably probably a 10 would be like, yeah, okay, I'll give you $10 if it happens.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, either that, he's either going yard, or he's going to just absolutely rope a double into the gap. Like one where it's just as like if he would have lifted it a little bit, maybe it's out, but he roped it all the way to the wall, and it's, he's not going to hit one dead center out to the fountains in Detroit. But if he does that, then Lord help us all. But that's how comfortable do you feel, I guess, with Royce Lewis coming back? Because obviously the thing is a little on pins and needles. I know we're comfortable with him come like that first game back, but then it kind of sets in of like, – he's hurt himself running the bases twice now this year. What the heck is up with that?
I, 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 It's just one of the, like, if he says he can go and the team says he can go, he has to go.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel that same way about Buxton. Royce has been injured, right? There's a long standing, like, know the difference between being injured and being hurt, because you can play hurt, you can't play injured. Royce has been injured, and the threat of him being hurt is a constant. So what is he going to not play? Because what if he gets hurt? That doesn't make he's got to play.
Right.
Just why we talked before this season, why it's so important for Buxton to be the center fielder. Like, the dude's going to get hurt. It doesn't matter if he's running bases, if he's playing center field, if he's doing the dishes, the guy's going to get hurt. So in the meantime, play baseball.
Right. Well, and there's some people talk like, well, maybe they could put him as DH and that'll take some of the workload off him. Yeah, that will. And I'm not opposed to that. But remember, he hurt himself running the bases. So, like, he's going to have to do that if he's DHing. So, I mean, unless he just hits a home run every time, Corey, then we don't have to worry about it at all.
Can't rule it out.
Can't rule it out. Another thing on the pitching front with injuries, Brock Stewart, the Twins' primary setup man, is looking to come back. He had a rehab stint yesterday and struck out, I think, all 3 batters he faced. He looked pretty comfortable. That'd be such a huge get for the Twins to have. One, because the bullpen is running on fumes a little bit, but just adding, because there's the trade deadline. Who do the Twins add? Whatever. But, and obviously a high leverage reliever is going to be important, but adding Brock Stewart may be the trade that you get. Like, you're not going to get anybody better than what Brock Stewart has been to the Twins when healthy. That guy is electric. And to get him on the back end of the bullpen, now all of a sudden you have Duran closing games. But then in front of him, you have Griffin Jacks. Okay, well, Griffin Jacks can't go one night. Okay, Brock Stewart can go this night. And now all of a sudden you have 2 primary setup men to pair along with Duran. And that just makes Rocco at the end of games, it gives him a little bit more flexibility when, maybe you've thrown Jacks a couple nights in a row, or it just gives you that option of like 7, 8, 9, boom, 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 we're game's over.
What one of the things that I like about him and I like about this Twins team is that he has like an all-time, I think, great white guy baseball name. And the Twins have 3. Like, Brock Stewart is maybe the only thing that would be better is if he was a hockey player. It does have a little hockey vibe to it. But Brock Stewart, Griffin Jacks, Brooks Lee are like all-time great white guy baseball names, aren't they?
Oh, and by the way, you know what Brock Stewart's nickname is? Beef Stew.
I mean, come on.
Come on. Because whenever he does well on social media, people they'll no caption, no reference to it. It'll just be a GIF of like beef stew and somebody like stirring the pot every time he like has a shutdown inning.
That's awesome. I actually didn't know that, and I love him even more.
Beef stew. Because Brock Stewart, beef stew. There you go.
I would be very happy in my Twins fandom career to root for a guy who everyone refers to as Boof and Beef. Can we just, like, why are we even calling him Brock Stewart? We need to be calling him Beef Stewart.
If they were pitching together, it'd be like in the 80s, that'd be perfect, because it'd be like they'd have like this whole persona as like, on the beat, New York, Chicago, LA style cops. It's Boof and Beef. They're cops who don't go by the book, but they get results. I'd watch that show.
It sounds like an old school sports radio show, doesn't it?
Yeah.
You're listening to the Boof and the Beef.
You're listening to Boof and the Beef. From 2 to 6 on the Claw.
And then bing, bing, bing.
Yeah, exactly. It's just like a bunch of like monkey noises.
I don't know, Beef. I don't know if I like the way the team's bringing their attitude out in the field every day. What do you think? Well, Boof.
We're taking callers here. Time for Boof to argue with every single phone call.
It's the Boof and the Beef.
Boof and the Beef. The Beef. Yeah. We can do it.
We're branding the morning sports desk to the Boof and the Beef.
Which one is which? I don't know.
Bigger than you, so I have to be Beef, unfortunately.
Well, see, I have the B in my last name, so
that is true.
Work with either one. But see, Boof is taking on a different. I think boofing is taking on a different kind of vibe you that, or it's like, I don't think you should look it up in the Urban Dictionary and put it on the screen, but
it's too late. I'm already doing it because
I'm waiting to see your reaction.
You've already put it in our heads. So anything I bring up from this point forward is not my fault.
Fair enough.
It's the one who brought it up.
Fair enough. I'm waiting to see your reaction on camera, which is why you should go look at our YouTube page at Hubbard Radio-Wadena. Just search the Morning Sports Desk, and you get to see this, and you also get to see the graphics and other videos we put up.
Can I tell you one of my favorite things about Urban Dictionary is it not only gives you the definition, it uses it in a sentence too.
Yes.
To abuse any illicit or illicit substance via insertion into one's rectum. Dude, I just saw Brian boofing some booze last night at a party. Rad.
Okay. All right. Well, there, you learned something today. That's what you get when you listen to the Morning Sports Desk.
There's also something called boof broth, and that I'm not going to get into.
I think that's what happens if Beef Stew and Boof Bonzer have a kid together.
All right, next subject, please.
All right, we should be done here. Hey, let's move on to something completely more serious than this. Mekhi Blackmon for the Minnesota Vikings tore his ACL in literally practice number 1, Corey, because the Vikings can't have nice things.
It was so. I mean, I had a conversation with someone earlier this morning. We called it Overreaction Thursday.
Mm-hmm.
And when you combine Darnold dropping a 50-yard bomb in the bucket to JJ with the ridiculous bubble wrap helmets that they have to wear.
Yeah.
And then Blackmon tearing his ACL. That is the push and pull of early season training camp. Why does it there's one every single year. It's not always the Vikings, but like, oh, yep. It's across the scroll on ESPN, right? This guy tears his ACL, done for the year. You just, dang it. It happened to the Vikings this year.
Yeah, not ideal. But we did get the Duke back. Duke Shelley, we talked about on the Sports Desk a little yesterday. Duke Shelley returns to the Vikings on a 1-year deal, which, coming in, it was like, this guy's going to have to battle. That back end of the cornerback room is going to be interesting. And now all of a sudden the spot is just opened up. So you brought in Duke Shelley to replace losing Kyrie Jackson. But now it has to be also with not having Mekhi Blackmon. And that, I think, gets into the next point of discussion is the Vikings cornerback room, because all of a sudden, I mean, this is definitely the Vikings weaker position group, I think, coming into the season. Corey, I'm just going to read you the names of Vikings corners that are on the current roster. Okay. And once I'm done, you just tell me how you feel about this collective group.
Okay.
Jalen Williams.
Who?
He's a 5'10", 195-pound corner, and he's in his second season.
Okay.
Duke Shelley.
Okay.
Byron Murphy Jr.
Okay.
Dwight McLaughlin.
Okay.
Shaq Griffin.
Is he the one with only one hand?
No, I think that was his brother.
Okay.
I mean, maybe. AJ Green III.
But not AJ Green, the wide receiver for Cincinnati?
No, not that AJ Green, although I don't know how much better he would be at this point in his life.
Uh-huh.
A Caleb Evans.
Okay.
Andrew Booth Jr.
Okay.
That's the Vikings cornerback room. How confident are you in that group?
I've heard of 4 of those guys. That's good, I suppose. But I heard of them because they all played last year on a unit that wasn't very strong.
Exactly. And that's
is Terrence Newman doing anything these days?
Maybe he's coaching somewhere.
Yeah, that's probably true. 60-year-old Terrence Newman is coaching.
Hey, what's Xavier Rhodes up to now?
Roads closed. Sort of. Roads are down to 1-lane traffic now at this point.
Roads closed except for through traffic.
Yeah, the spring restrictions have been lifted on all roads closed previous.
I think Trey Waynes is just like hanging out in southern Wisconsin, northern Illinois. Maybe we could pull him up.
Yeah, I don't, whatever. That there was always, it's probably the weak part of their defense, the defensive backs.
What's Benny Sapp up to these days?
Yeah, right. No, I don't. What are we doing percentages again? Are we doing on a scale of 1 to 10? Are we doing
scale of 1 to 10? 10 being, I'm super concerned, and 1 being like, it'll be okay.
Oh, interesting. Okay. A 6.
That's fair.
7.
It's always tough to gauge it in training camp too, because we have everybody, it's like a the high school football team in the first week of practice is going to win 2 games all year, but they see them practice against each other. And it's like, there's a shot we could maybe go we could win 5 games this year. And that'll be kind of the thing with the Vikings throughout this training camp. I think it's like a 7 or an 8 even. I'm going to go an 8 just to push it a little bit stronger than yours, because this is a group that last season got picked apart. Remember, once the Vikings, once Daniil Hunter and Marcus Davenport provided once the pass rush went away, there was nothing.
Mm-hmm.
And they got picked apart.
Yep.
And they added Shaq Griffin, who he got cut by the Houston Texans mid-season last year. So
Yep.
A team that was trying to make the playoffs cut him a year ago. And now he's coming in. Byron Murphy Jr. He's like a nice above average NFL corner.
He can do stuff.
Yeah, exactly. But he was they wanted him to kind of be in the slot. He had to be outside, but he's going to have to go back outside again. And Mekhi Blackmon you had Mekhi Blackmon, and then Kyrie Jackson was going to develop in. And, Kyrie Jackson, obviously it's tough to say because that guy tragically passed away, but he was supposed to be a contributor. And now you don't have him this season. Yeah. You're not going to have Mekhi Blackmon, who injured his ACL. So those are 2 guys that you were looking to be key contributors on the outside. And now you're going to have to find out, and maybe Duke Shelley goes to be that nickel inside slot corner, but they're in a spot where they just don't have a lot of capable NFL bodies, and in where Brian Flores likes to do a lot of man-to-man coverage and stuff like that. Well, it's going to be, and the one other thing is, it's just that this team is going to play the Green Bay Packers with Jordan Love. This team is going to play the Detroit Lions with all the weapons they have, and Jared Goff coming off an NFC Championship game. And this team is going to play, I know Caleb Williams is a rookie quarterback, but there's Keenan Allen, there's Rome Odunze, and there's DJ Moore. This is going to be a very tough year for that position group.
I'd like to congratulate Lewis Seen on making the team.
Yeah. He's not going to play, but he'll make the team.
Because he wasn't gonna probably, and now he's gonna.
Yeah, exactly. They're going to have to mishmash some players around. And I mean, jury's still out because he's technically, depends on how they view the safeties and corners and how interchangeable they are, but they're going to have to figure out a way to do it.
Yep.
Bynum's not going to be playing strong or free safety. He's going to be playing corner at this rate. Right. And it's just not ideal for this Vikings team. But yeah, I'm not feeling confident about the group. Maybe somebody comes up in training camp. Maybe Shaq Griffin has a bounce back season. Maybe there's some free agent that gets cut late in camp and the Vikings bring him in and whatever. Just, their pass rush is going to be better.
Probably absolutely happening. Someone else is coming in, because I don't think the Duke Shelley thing happened before the injury, correct?
That was to replace Kyrie Jackson's spot on the roster.
Gosh, dang it. So yeah, that's not a great start.
No, not a great start to camp from a group that the Vikings did not invest a ton in, and which is fine. I'm not saying that it's like, how dare they? Because it's like, again, it's a 2-year plan. Next off season, they were definitely going to address corner, whether it be a big free agent or a first round, like one of your top picks. You were going to invest in a corner. Fine, because this year was about getting the pass rusher, getting the quarterback, filling out the front end of the defense, and then you're going to fill in the back end in 2025 when you're more willing, when you're in a better spot to compete. But still doesn't mean you still have to play games this year. So it's just going to be interesting to see how that pans out. Mm-hmm. All right, Corey, let's wrap up the sports desk by talking about something very important on our minds here, and that is the average price of a ballpark hot dog in this country.
Okay.
So, in all of the major league ballparks, I want to give you reference. League average in 2023 for an MLB ballpark hot dog was $5.32.
Okay.
Is that on a gut level? Does that seem reasonable to you?
No. It's a hot dog.
Can you see some of the names on this graphic? So the most, you're good?
Yeah, I can see them.
Okay. All right. What stands out to me in this is, one, the Twins have one of the cheaper ballpark hot dogs sitting at $3.99.
Sure, yeah.
Braves and the Royals. I wonder what is the standard? Is it like every team's just generic hot dog? Is there like the average price of, you know what I mean? Like, because most ballparks have different offerings of hot dogs. Like there's Dodger dogs, which are like 2 feet long, or just a longer hot dog. You have the boomsticks, which are literally 2 feet long.
Right. Well, and even the old days of the dome dog, you could get a regular hot dog.
Right. So I don't know what goes in.
Is it just a regular? Yeah. Is it just a regular hot dog, or is it their specialty dog or whatever?
Purposes of this, I think it's just regular hot dog.
If it's $4 for a regular hot dog, it's ridiculous.
Well, you can get that. Like there's the third levels, like the family section. I think they have hot dogs there that are a little cheaper, or like there's a cheap section in center field that sells.
Yeah,
these are smaller dogs.
Fine. It's a hot dog.
Yeah, you're gonna pay $8 for a brat, and you're gonna love it.
First of all, that's a really great point. I am not wasting $4 on a hot dog at a ball game. I will waste $12 on a much more ridiculous food item.
Well, let me get rid of this banner here so we can see some of the worst teams in baseball.
No way. Those jerks in Oakland.
Yeah.
Come on.
$8.39 for a hot dog in Oakland.
The place that hates their team and fans, an entire organization, and will not be in Oakland any further.
Yeah. No, $8.39. Well, because you got to factor it in, Corey. There's only like 4 fans, so they have to make. If you're going but per capita, they're making a lot of money. They
sure are. I hate it. I hate everything about that. The prices in general, I don't like. The simple fact that the A's are at the bottom of that list with the most expensive hot dog is infuriating.
Yep. And by the way, do you notice all the California teams have the most expensive hot dogs?
If
you want to go to a ball game in California and get a hot dog, you have to spend at least $8.
If it was the Dodgers as the most expensive, I would have understood.
Full on Dodger dog. Yeah.
But it's Oakland. They're worthless.
Yeah.
That makes me mad.
Well, and the Angels are right behind them too.
They sure are. And I don't like anything about it. I don't like anything about it.
The Cubs, as expected, are towards the top because it's a Chicago dog. What are you talking about?
Right.
Yeah. The Nationals and Rays all have hot dogs set for $8.
Mm-hmm. Much.
And
Blue Jays $2.55 is as
Canadian or American dollars. I don't know.
Is that one is like, all right, I could, because you know what, I can go into the Holiday and pick one off the roller for $2 or whatever.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm fine with that.
Arizona Diamondbacks have $2.99 dogs. Marlins have $3 dogs. Twins, of course, have $3.99. Same with the Brewers, Mariners, Royals, Braves. The Orioles have hot dogs at $4.10. Guardians at $4.50, Phillies at $4.99, Pirates at $5.09, White Sox at $5.49, Red Sox at $6.25, Yankees at $6.29. Yankees being like middle of the pack surprises me in all this.
Totally. I mean, if you consider everything, how much anything in New York is going to cost you, yeah, that's not terrible.
Tigers are $6.49. Reds are $6.79. The Rangers are $7.19. Probably goes with that new ballpark. The Rockies are $7.24. The Rockies, it's the best. Coors Field is the best bar ever because you can go to the bar and watch a baseball game. That's basically the joke of Coors Field, is that basically the team treats it as just a bar.
Good.
Like it's like a hipster kind of like, go get your Blue Moon, go get your $7.79 hot dog and get out of here. The Astros have $7.59 for hot dogs. Cardinals $7.75. Rays $7.79. Any other ones that stand out to you?
No, that's all of them. They're all ridiculous. The one thing I will say about this though is that I'm not going to spend $3.99 for a hot dog at a Twins game. I'm not. but I would spend $6.25 or whatever it is for a hot dog at a Yankees game, because I've already spent the money to be there. And you know what I mean? Like some of that
paradox.
If you are a visitor somewhere else at one of these parks, like do it, because that's a part of the experience. But for all of those home fans, any home fan paying any of those prices for a hot dog, just go out to eat beforehand.
Right. But you got to get a dog at a baseball game, Corey.
And grab a McChicken on your way to the stadium. You'll be fine.
Although that might not be that much cheaper at this rate.
It isn't.
But it's the principle.
It's kind of the principle of it. Yeah.
All right. One last thing. Here I found this graphic of what brand of hot dog each team uses. The Twins are the only team in Major League Baseball to use Schweigert hot dogs at their ballpark. Of course, the Yankees, Mets, they use Nathan's. So does the Miami Marlins, St. Louis Cardinals, and Tampa Bay Rays. Bar S hot dogs for Arizona. Gross. Now I know why they're so cheap. Those are not good hot dogs. Atlanta and Detroit use Ballpark Franks. Hebrew National for the Padres, the Nationals, the Giants, and the Rockies. Texas Chief hot dogs for, of course, the Texas teams. Whatever Hoffy is for the Angels. Canelas for the Dodgers. Miller's for the A's. Maybe it's a distributor issue why the A's are so expensive.
You mean a fundamental franchise problem of picking? You can't even find a cheap hot dog.
Yeah.
The one thing they're willing to spend money on in that stupid organization is the hot dogs.
The hot dogs, yes. Vienna sausages for the Cubs, White Sox, Royals, and Brewers. That's actually very on brand. I'm glad that they do that. Yep. The Guardians and the Pirates have Sugardale. The Reds have Cons. Seattle Mariners have Fletcher's, and Hatfield for the Phillies. Just an interesting graphic. The New York and Chicago ones make all the sense in the world.
If you're one of those places, you have to.
You have to.
If you're in New York, it has to be Nathan's.
It has to be a Nathan's hot dog.
Chicago, it better be Vienna sausage. It just better be.
If you don't, like, what are you doing?
Well, and the Twin at the Dome, it used to be Hormel.
Yep.
Right? They made all the Dome dogs, but you snooze, you lose Hormel in a new stadium.
Not good enough for Target Field. They were Schweigert. It's like Byron Buxton with those Sheboygan sausages commercials where it looks like he did like the first read and they're like, all right, Byron, you're good. And nobody wanted to tell him to take a second take. So he's talking about, and I like to play into outfield. Like it was like lingering on to the next line, outfield. You don't want to do a second take on that? Nope, we're good.
I have one of the impressions I do is a very short Stephon Diggs impression when he used to do stuff when he was with the Vikings and he go, hey, Vikings fans. That's my Stephon Diggs impression. Hey there, Vikings fans.
Hey, Vikings fans. Yeah.
They're not good at that stuff, most of those athletes.
No, it turns out they're not voice actors.
What made O.J. Simpson so special?
Yeah, exactly. He ran for how many yards now and how many games? Man, I can see it. I see the vision. This has been the Morning Sports Desk for Thursday, July 25th.
The Morning Sports Desk, available on demand on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts, and WadenaRadio.com.